Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. It's been a while. I genuinely cannot believe this is our last home game of the season. It's already over. We have to wait like 3 months to then return at the famous Olimpico. We must enjoy this, and it's a special one, as you're aware. And if you forgot, I'm here to remind you, it's Claudio's last dance. It's going to be a sad one, of course. It's going to be one where Claudio will revisit a lot of memories, one last time standing on that touchline inside his home, having saved a football club from a disaster of a season and, most probably calling this another sporting miracle to add to his manager CV. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. It's going to be great for Claudio. It's going to be great for the fans. The atmosphere on Sunday will be big. And, we're playing a team which is coming from a lost final. We're playing a team which is basically demoralized under every point of view. And we're coming from a defeat which broke and interrupted our 19 unbeaten streak. So I expect a reaction. And one thing that I say now that I'm going to develop in this match preview is I don't want to see these players giving up, because it's tempting. It's tempting now that we've lost the Atalanta game. I kind of touched this on in the match reaction. I don't want to see all of a sudden, because we lost one game, the players go, well, what's the point? I'm not going to get Champions League football, and kind of giving up. No, there are various reasons to this. Number one, it's not official that you're not playing the Champions League next season. It's unlikely, yes, but you only use the word it's done when it's mathematically impossible, and it's not mathematically impossible. If Juventus bottle a game and you do your job, you can still get in the Champions League. So it's unlikely, yes, let's not hide this to ourselves, but it's not impossible. So number one, mathematically, it's still not, the verdict still hasn't been decided. Number two, we've got a Europa League to conquer if the Champions League is not the tournament that we'll be playing in. And number three, if I want to see, if there is one game where I want to see these players give it their absolute best, is on Sunday for the man sitting on the bench. I know that they have done everything possible from December to now, and I'm very aware of this. I know that these players have literally, they've done a miracle. They've done a miracle to even be in this position. But Sunday's game is more than a football game. On Sunday evening, we bid farewell to a legend of this game, to a legend of this club, and to a person who has made you the players that you have turned into this season. So if, Sunday is all about Claudio. When I say Sunday is not about giving up, on a sporting result point of view, yes, but on a humane point of view, Sunday you need to fight for Claudio Ranieri, because it's his last game and he deserves to conclude his career with a win in front of his own fans. By the way, look at this t-shirt. We're ready for Sunday. Grazie, mister. I got a lot of comments asking where I got this. My dad actually gave me this because he got given this shirt after buying a newspaper, which is weird. But yeah, if you do live in Italy and you want this shirt, grazie mister, to bring to the stadium on Sunday or just for memory, then I believe if you buy a newspaper, a sport newspaper, they're going to give it to you. Of course, you got to pay for it, but it's like combined with the newspaper. So interesting fact over there. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while. Hit the like, subscribe, do all of that beauty. As we tackle and delve into our last home match preview and our second to last game of the season. First of all, as you can see from the screen, this video is sponsored by Comave, the beloved Comave. Comave have actually invited two of my friends on Sunday to assist at Claudio's farewell. So I thank you, Comave, for giving my friends those tickets and for sponsoring this video. If you're probably wondering what Comave is, I've said it many times, Comev is where Roma fans win exclusive prizes through the world of e-commerce. However, Comev have evolved. Comev are doing more interactive things, and if you follow them on their social media, if you scan that QR code and follow them on Instagram, they do giveaways. You know, if you go to the game, you could be interviewed by Comev's social media manager, and if you win the little quiz, you can get given prizes. So it's becoming more interactive, and it's becoming more worth it. All you need to do is literally, if you scan that QR code, give them a follow on Instagram so you can keep updated on all these giveaways and stuff. And yeah, thank you to Come for sponsoring this video. Look, I would like to start off with Milan because I know that there are quite a few Milan fans which watch this channel. And it's not the first time that we've played Milan this season. It feels like in recent times, Milan is the team we play most often. Maybe it's because last year we faced them in the Europa League, but I have a feeling that Roma-Milan and Milan-Roma is a game that happens more than twice every season, especially in recent times. And this season we had them in the Coppa Italia as well. So, what I think about your team, what I think about Milan, is that this is the worst Milan season in the history of the club. And I think a lot of Milan fans will agree on this. I've got Milan fans myself who say this, and they've literally told me this. If you don't beat this Milan side, I tend to believe that I tend to stick in that philosophical group of people that goes, if you can't beat Milan now, you'll never be able to beat Milan. And look, they are a very bipolar team. I know that they've improved. They've improved this season. They've started very bad. They've improved a bit in the league, but then they lost the final. It's kind of like they can't catch a bit of momentum. I think that's the problem with Milan. The problem with Milan is that you've got the team, because you can say everything that you want apart from the fact that you don't have players, because on paper you've got a better team than us. So you've got the players, you've got the team, you just can't find a manager and a board which can actually operate and know where to put the tools in this and make this system work. I said this the day he was appointed, and I will say it again because my idea has not changed. I am a Roma fan, I watch Roma games, but of course being Italian, I watch the majority of other Italian teams as well. And I am not scared to say this. Conceição has been a terrible appointment. Now, of course, I'll be biased when saying this because, you know, I hate that man. That man hates us to death. That man is like the most anti-Romanista person outside of Italy ever. Conceição hates us. He was a Lazio legend, of course. I don't like him in the starting point. But he's not a good manager. He's not a good manager. He is a better version of Ivan Juric. Why do I say this? Because with a manager like him, or with a manager like Juric, I think us and Milan can be connected this season because both of us have experienced a manager who falls out with the team. A manager like Conceição will never grant you consistency and will never grant you a winning streak momentum, because he's somebody that protests. He's somebody that falls out with the players. He's literally a better version of Juric. I'm not here to say that he's worse than Juric, because I can't find a manager who's worse than Juric. But in terms of personality, he's the same exact manager. Managers who believe in a certain football ideology, but don't realize that if you come into a season and the team hasn't been planned around you, it's you who need to adapt to the players, not the players who need to adapt to you. So Conceição, my strict opinion, has done worse than Fonseca. I think if you'd stick with Fonseca, you'd be in a better stage. He's won the Supercoppa, yes. He's won the Super Cup, which credit where credit is due, but you don't even know how you won that, because Inter were leading 2-0. But you won that, and congratulations. The only big achievement that I see Milan doing this season is that 3-0 win against Inter in the Coppa Italia. He ain't a good manager. He ain't a good manager, and it's not a surprise that at the end of the season he will leave. Which is where I come in here and say, we're playing a team who's coming from a lost final. We're playing a team which is demoralized under every point of view. We're playing a team which is divided. Fans are divided with the players, with the board. It's a mess. And number 4, we're playing against a team with a manager who will leave in a week. If you don't win on Sunday, then I'm not going to insult you because I've said this already. I've reached the stage where we've done so much and we've achieved so much and we've done a miracle that I won't insult you anymore. But I'll be disappointed if you lose on Sunday. If you lose on Monday against Atalanta, fine, you can lose a game. We were unbeaten in 20 games. It's normal that you lose a game. But if you really need to lose, I would rather you lose a game that is understandable for you to lose. Sunday, you can win, you can draw, you can lose. I'm not saying we step up on Sunday, we win and destroy them. No, it's a complicated game. They will have to fight for some pride. And technically, they could still get a Champions League, if not Europa League spot. Mathematically, they could. But seeing the conditions of Milan, not winning against them would be a waste. It would be kind of doing something that you have such a big opportunity because they are a mess. And they've got a manager who will leave in a week, that if you don't exploit this opportunity fully, you'll have regrets. Because if you don't beat Milan now, you won't beat them. The other thing with Milan is, I think, which again shows you how Conceição is not a good manager. Again, I'm not a Milan fan. I don't want to get into your problems and stuff. We have enough problems at our football club that, we don't even need to delve into other football teams. But please, somebody who supports Milan watching this, explain to me why Luka Jovic starts ahead of Santiago Jimenez, who you've invested money in, and Tammy Abraham, who you know me, I loved Tammy in the first season, but I believe that Tammy is a one-season wonder. Other than that, he's not a good player. But why does Jovic start ahead of these two? Ahead of Santiago Jimenez? How? How in a world does Jovic start ahead of Jimenez? How? I don't get this. And this is why I don't understand Conceição. Because he does things that won't bring you points. That just won't bring you points. So then Milan fans question the manager and go, why the hell do we lose games? Well, you've got a manager who half of the times he sits Leao on the bench and he's their best player. And the majority of times I've seen Milan play, they started with Jovic and Jimenez was kept on the bench like this. So look, but again, I think I'm not going to. What I'm trying to do here is, I think we can win on Sunday, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't win, because 2 reasons. Number 1, when we really need to win, we never win, and number 2, Milan are weird. Milan can turn up, and if Milan turn up, they're a great team because they've got players who can win you games single-handedly. So questions are what Milan turns up. If it's the Milan that turned up on Tuesday, then we can beat them 2-0 easy. If it's the Milan that turned up against Inter in the Coppa Italia, then we could lose. It's a bit of a hit or miss with Milan. It's hard to track them down. It's hard to analyze them this season. But moving on to us. The last thing that I always say, I always include this little segment in match previews when we analyze Milan, because it's the most important thing. You can't allow open spaces when you've got a player like Leao against you. You can't. I always say this, and you'll get bored of me saying this, but it's the truth. You cannot leave open spaces when you've got a player like Leao, because that's like asking to lose this game. There's one thing you have to be careful with when you play Milan, especially in this current form: open spaces and counterattacks. So I expect a formation that also takes in consideration how to tackle this problem. Moving on to us, I think my only fear going into this game is not because of our opponents, but it's more because of ourselves. It's more because I am a bit skeptical that that one defeat out of the last 20 games could have kind of triggered the players mentally, because they've lost a game after so much effort, after so much energy, and then they see that you only have 2 games remaining, and then you kind of go, well, I only have 2 games remaining. I did so much to be in this position that defeat on Monday kind of has crucified me. There's really no point in me. That's my only fear. But I think if there's one manager who doesn't allow these things, is Ranieri. I say this really, and I mean it more than ever. I know that I say this in every match preview, but this time I mean it more than ever. I want these players to fight on Sunday for Claudio. I want these players to fight on Sunday to understand where we'll be in Europe, because I think after Sunday's result, we will understand in what European competition we will be, if not the Champions League. Because if you win on Sunday, then I say 80% you've guaranteed the Europa League, but you still have a chance of playing the Champions League if Juventus bottle it. So I think after Sunday, you'll understand roughly where you'll be playing next season in Europe. So yes, it's important for this, but it's important for Claudio Ranieri. What will be, will be. I tend to believe that what will be, will be. You've tossed your coins, you've played your game, you've played your cards, you've done everything possible to be in this position, you've done a miracle, you've been consistent, you've been, you've grinded a lot of momentum, you've been psychologically on it. There is nothing that I can say to you. One last thing that I will say is play with your heart out in this game, to respect the man that has managed you since November, to respect, what Sunday's game means to him and what it means to the fans. Okay, so that's what I would say. I would say exactly this, because we've tossed our coins. Yes, we've got 2 very important games remaining, but over the last 5 months, we've played our cards. We've done our job. We can end this job in their next 2 games, yes, but 90% of the job has been done. Whether this job means Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, or no European football, which is unlikely, let's look at the positives, then the fate, God will decide it. Because it doesn't fully depend on you. It depends on other results as well. So you've done your job, but on Sunday, you need to, plus it's the last home game, for the fans as well. For the fans as well, it's the last home game. We've had a very complicated first 4 months. Don't forget where we all were. Don't forget where we all came from. Don't forget what that stadium looked like 5 months ago. So it's kind of, give it your best to conclude this circle. This is the last most important game. The game against Torino is important, but the game against Torino is against a team that is already on vacation. The most important game is this one. The game that will probably decide it is this one. So you must give it your best, and Forza Roma, and let's win. That's what I would say. Right, before reading the comments, let me show you my predicted 11. My predicted 11 is the same one as I had predicted on Monday. The only thing here is, I want to see Saelemaekers starting. I've got 2 reasons for this. Number 1, actually, I can find 3 reasons as to why Saelemaekers I want to start. Number 1, Saelemaekers knows Milan well. Saelemaekers knows Milan players well. So I think Saelemaekers and Cilic together could do a good job on stopping Leao and Theo Hernandez. Number 2, In the last 5 minutes that Salamakers played on Monday, I saw him well. Good on one-on-ones, good on crosses. And we need that because we need 3 points. 3 points or 1 point changes everything. You know, if I believe that on Sunday, if we have to draw, then we might as well lose. So risk it, give it your best. You know that you're playing against a team which is mentally halved, mentally destroyed. We'll change manager in 2 weeks. This manager just lost a cup, a final 3 days ago. A draw on Sunday would be equally as bad as a defeat. So you must try to win it. And you must offensively show that you want to win it, okay? And number 3, I expect a good performance because I think Salamakers wants to convince Roma to buy him. But I am not convinced that Roma will buy him permanently. But, you know, it's the last home game. Maybe with a good performance, it could change the minds of the board. So there are various reasons as to why I would start Salamakers. And I would start with Salamakers. Other than that, I think it's going to be this. Pellegrini, of course, injured. He did his surgery in Finland this morning. Dovbyk, I'd be tempted. I'd be tempted not to start Dovbyk in this game and go with Shomurodov, Sule and Baldanzi. In fact, I actually thought about this now, and I'd actually prefer it because I can't remember one big game this season where Dovbyk not only made the difference, but generally speaking stopped one ball. The games that Dovbyk scored in or played good games were all against minor teams. So I would actually, rethinking about this, I would go with Shomurodov up front and Sule and Baldanzi behind him, with Salamakers, Cristante, Kone and Angelino in the middle, and Ndika, Mancini and Cilic in defence. I'd go with that. Relooking at it, I'd go with that. I would. If we win on Sunday, we will secure European football with 1 game in hand, and then who knows what could happen next week. I think I'm not worried about the Torino game because, well, look, realistically speaking, if I see a game where Juventus bottles it, it's not this weekend, it's next weekend against Venezia. I'm not stupid. I'm not believing in a world where Juventus bottles it at home against a team which is already on vacation, who doesn't have Luca, who doesn't have Toven, and who will probably not even start Ekelkamp. Juventus will win on Sunday. The game that they might bottle it in is the game against Venezia, if Venezia come to that game knowing that their safety depends on it. So, and then of course Lazio play Inter as well. So, I think we will be playing in Europe next season. In fact, 99% convinced that we will play in Europe. Whether it's Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, I'm 99% convinced that we will play in Europe. Of course, I'd be very happy with Europa League. I mean, Champions League would be a dream. To get Champions League, I'm not worried about the Torino game because Torino might, if it's between Roma and Juventus, I strongly believe Torino will move away from the game against us next Sunday. But of course, it might mean nothing. That game might mean nothing. That game means nothing if you draw on Sunday. If you lose on Sunday, actually, I take my words back. If you lose on Sunday, it's bad. Because Milan would equal your points, but in the last game week, they're playing Monza at home. So you can't lose, and a draw would be pointless. If you draw on Sunday, however, then the Torino game becomes pointless. Because Juventus will have guaranteed Champions League football. But yeah, if you win on Sunday, and then it all comes down to the last game week, then maybe Torino might move away. You never know. Conceição is just a Mourinho wannabe with not even half of Jose's... Exactly that. Conceição is a Mourinho built with Lego bricks. That's exactly who he is. Exactly that. A manager which, if you want to be like Mourinho, you can't be like Mourinho. Because to win what Mourinho won with the character that he has, is an impossible task itself. Conceição is a Mourinho wannabe. Conceição is a Juric type manager who believe everything that they say is right, who clash with players, and of course, you know, it's not surprising that Milan can't catch one single brink of momentum when you've got a manager like that, you know. Bologna winning the Coppa means that if we beat Milan, we will mathematically secure European football with one game in hand. Champions League is still possible. I believe that our Udine bros got our back. No, it's more Venezia. If they bottle it, it's against Venezia. I'd be very surprised if Juventus don't win at home against Udinese. I'm very surprised. I mean, Juventus are not the best Juventus, but they are definitely gonna beat a already on vacation Udinese at home. Any thoughts on the disgusting actions on what the Milan Ultras did at the Olimpico? Well, all I can say is, once again, great competence skills from the Serie A institutions. You know that Roma fans and Milan fans hate each other. You know that Roma fans and Milan fans have a rivalry because of a Roma Ultras that had been killed. And yet you insist to put the Milan Ultras in the Curva Sud when you could have simply put Bologna Ultras in the Curva Sud and Milan Ultras in the Curva Nord. I mean, it's about that simple. But yet, they failed to understand this, and result is Milan fans vandalized the Curva Sud seats. No way! Wow! How surprising. We definitely could not have stopped that. We definitely could not have predicted that. Oh no. Sometimes it baffles me. They've got a mind, they've got a brain of 3 years old sometimes. Who do you think will win the Scudetto? Napoli, unfortunately. Eusebio will stop Juve. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Right, guys, I'm going to catch you tomorrow. Hit the like, subscribe. Grazie. Mister is definitely the title that I will use for the match reaction and is going to be the topic for Sunday's game. Hit the like, subscribe. 100 likes on this video would be great. Do it. Do it for Claudio and do it for us. We've gone through yet another season together. It's our last home game. Smash the like button. Thank you to Comment for sponsoring this video. Scan that QR code. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, whatever you have to remain connected. Because as I said before, they're becoming more interactive, more giveaways, more prizes and stuff. So you definitely don't miss out on that. And I'll catch you soon. Simo out.